Welcome to Nobody Knows with Joey Johnson, powered in part by Deep Wax Productions and Classic of Denton.
Hi, listeners, people,
Hey.
those that are here very often, or at least every other week on a Wednesday. We're back.
Every week. Every other week.
Every other week. Well, you know, I mean, I don't trust our fans that much yet. I gotta wait till I hear or open the viewer mail.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't opened it yet. I'm a busy guy, Rich.
There's a lot of letters.
There's a lot of letters coming in my way. Scholarships from UCLA. You know,
Products people want us to try out. I tried that shampoo. Not a fan.
Right. You know,
I'm not a fan of it.
We're in the booming industry, the booming business of online radio. So, you know, scholarships and recruits, they come in left and right. So we're trying to figure that out, and we'll get back to you people soon. So I just stepped on my cord.
That's what I said when I was a baby.
That's why it just it was pulling my ear down while I was
I feel like nowadays I custom tailor jokes just for Jake.
And I'm like, this is solely for the sponsorship purpose, and we've already got Jake laughing. I tugged my ear down when I was talking, and it was on the same ear side that I was talking into. So I started speaking into my shoulder. So here's the deal, people. This is that sponsorship part where we talk to you about all those amazing sponsors we have for Nobody Knows. All those meaning one. Right now, we have Deep Wax Productions. Normally, we have plugs for Deep Wax Productions, but they recently did the charity shows for the mini mall, and so we don't have any exactly right now. Mark Zimmerman, Mad Dabber, the man behind Deep Wax Productions. Why am I messing up with their name? He's planning some stuff coming up, and he told us that, and so we'll be announcing those weeks later. But until then, check him out on @DeepWax on Instagram, deepwaxproductions.com. He occasionally streams music and promotional items for this radio show right here on DentonRadio.com.
Sometimes.
He's a great dude. He's done a lot of things for the community. Deep Wax has. There's a lot of charity shows going on, and just a lot of just really good, just normal shows. You know, he's done the Onesie Party. He's been involved with a lot of Seven Feather events, Deep Trouble, all kinds of great things. So check out Deep Wax online. They're wonderful, and they're a sponsor. They're actually someone who believed in whatever this is.
What it is.
Umbilical cord jokes.
That's a great joke.
Classic at Chevrolet, they sponsor the whole station. I don't know what to say about them. My ex-girlfriend works there, so I guess buy a car. She won't be mad at me anymore. And then
buy 2 cars.
Buy 2 cars. That way I'm entirely out. That way I'm entirely out of the doghouse. So yeah, I guess we did the sponsor part. How are you feeling about these? Are you feeling?
I feel
sponsored.
You know what I mean? Like, I imagine this is how you feel when you get like your big skateboard sponsorship. I went to a school with a kid named
scolding sponsorship.
Matthew
That's a scolding sponsorship where every time you do something for them, they just slightly scold you.
Or throw you a scone.
Just to make you better, or a scone. So everyone check out Deep Wax Productions @DeepWax on Instagram, deepwaxproductions.com. They are amazing. This is Nobody Knows on DentonRadio.com. And today we have Juicy the Emissary. Unfortunately, Lawrence Rosales, one of my good friends, comedians, had to bail, and actually we got on another guy we've been trying to get on for a while. Amazing producer, hip-hop artist, out of the Denton area. He's very, very talented. One of my favorite beat makers of all time. So we have a good episode for you guys. We're going to get into that. Hey, this is Nobody Knows. It's every Wednesday at 5:30, so we're here, people.
And to kick it off, let's start with this poem.
You got a poem?
I got a poem.
What? Okay, we'll get into this. Let's hear it out.
West in situ. Tornadoes shimmy north and east, but the rest of life heads west. Westbound into the sinking sun, to dreams and songs yet unsung. But high in these hickories, we hear the granite beat, the 26 bones in each of our feet, keeping time in time. The sweet nectar of jazz, the stout ale of blues, boundless inside. The suede of our shoes, time, keeping time in time. courthouse bells licking each brassy hour like the strike of the blacksmith and the tongues of fire. We live, we breathe. Who we are is what we leave behind, keeping time in time. Below us lie the names of the greats who know all things spring from root. The Grammys, the Emmys, all words, all truths, the stroke of brush, the turn of clay, the single rising voice, keeping time in time. Onward, onward yet we go, chasing riffs of each spinning sun, deep into all songs we have yet to know. Carla K. Morton, 2010, Texas Poet Laureate.
I don't know if you could tell that I was smiling during that entire poem.
That's really how we are we on? Can they hear our voices? Because I want to let you all know I am disgusted.
That was
I am hurt.
beautiful.
What just happened?
I don't know.
I've
I
never
don't
wanted to
know.
cry before my own show, dude. I don't know what is.
Really set the tone.
Do you want to explain what just happened?
I'll say this. After reading
You'll
that,
say this
after
little
listening-
bit after saying just so much.
after listening to that 4 or 5 times during the edit,
Is that
I
something
still
you had
have
pre-recorded,
no-
or did you make that up today? Sorry, did you?
I read the
That's
poem.
not even your poem.
No.
Oh
I
my
just-
god!
I just-
Whose poem
There's
is
a
this?
poem outside.
What are you doing?
There's a poem outside.
No,
I read it.
no, that's not a. We need to update our contracts, Jake. What is?
You know, I don't have to write the poetry I do on the show.
Well,
I
you
don't
gotta
think.
quote the artist.
I did.
now,
I
the
did.
Poet.
At the end, I gave full credit.
Did he?
Yeah, full credit.
Oh, that makes me even feel
He said
worse. I wish-
baccalaureate or whatever.
Yeah,
he-
whatever it
Who?
Whatever it was.
whatever word he messed
Oh,
up.
whatever. Yeah, so we messed up. So you didn't even give credit. You messed the whole thing up.
Whatever
you said
her
the
name
person's
was.
name wrong.
It was a beautiful poem. I don't know what it means. The words felt great. I don't know what any of them meant. I felt like I was reading a list, but great job.
Okay, so what just happened? What was the poem about? What,
Something
I was
about
so
licking
taken
the
aback.
bells.
what?
Something about licking the bells of the brassy bell. I don't know. I don't know what that means.
You
I
didn't
don't
even know what it was about?
We're gonna have her on the show
What'd you
soon.
take from it? You didn't take anything from it?
No,
Not to discount
I'll tell you what
any
I
of the
took from
poetry,
it.
but I feel like you just read a thing and didn't
I'll
think
tell you
about
what.
it.
I'll tell you what I actually took from it on a realistic level.
Oh, okay, please do.
I was sitting there reading this poem, and 4 or 5 people were behind me walking.
Okay.
And I thought to myself,
Okay.
I can do one of two things. Stop embarrassing myself by reading this poem so eloquently.
What was that word?
Excellent. Or
Okay.
or continue, and I continued, and I felt great.
And you continued, and
They were like,
and you
"What's he
you don't
doing?"
know what to take from it. You don't know how to pronounce
They're
the
like,
word
wasn't that
excellent or
magician
eloquently.
from Channel 8? And I'm like,
You're speaking into a phone. Are you still using a phone out there?
Yeah.
Or are you using the voice recorder?
I'm using the phone.
Okay.
They just
So-
thought I was on the phone reading a poem.
Okay. Well, you promised me that we'll go back to the interviews next week. Can you
Next
promise-
week we'll have
Can you
interviews.
promise all our hardcore fans out there that are now just sad that they didn't get?
Casey Harris actually liked it.
Casey Harris said we lit. Casey Harris, I grew
I
up
went
in
to-
Flower Mound
me
with
too.
him.
Me and
you
him grew up
didn't.
in
You did
Flower
not.
Mound together.
You didn't.
How you doing, Casey? Haven't seen you in a while.
What's up, my guy? I think he's in Iowa or Idaho now.
Idaho.
Okay. I think I've actually done this with Casey before, too, because I'm not sure the difference between Idaho and Iowa. Not that I'm being insensitive to Idaho or Iowa.
Iowa
I
is where
just
Chicago is, and
haven't been-
Indiana is where Indiana Jones is from.
I've driven around the Midwest area. I've never driven. Wait, what did you say?
Indiana is where Indiana Jones is from.
I didn't say Indiana. I said Iowa or Idaho. I've been to Indiana.
Yeah, we all have. I've been to Gary, Indiana. I know the song.
Okay,
Gary, Indiana, Gary.
What's been up this week, my guy? What's been up?
Put out the flog. It went crazy.
You
I
did.
had like at
You're-
least 80 views
Which
so
a
far
vlog is a vlog
with me.
with you
Mhm.
because you're Flo.
Mhm.
All right. So you have a YouTube channel right now? That's what you're
I
telling
have a
me?
YouTube channel. I'm not for sure what it is, but look me up.
I guess we can plug that on this. What is
Yeah.
it? How do you,
I don't actually know what it is.
you don't know your YouTube channel? What are you talking about?
I know the
What do you
password.
know
I can
your-
say that. I know the password.
Okay, so what is the YouTube? How can people find this? How can people
Type in Richie
I'm in
Flow.
it, so I want people to know.
Type in Richie Flow, and then there's a picture of DOC, and that's the one. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait till everyone sees it.
Casey's in Iowa, Maine.
Iowa.
Iowa.
Manny.
Hawkeyes.
Iowa Manny. He's actually from Manny, Iowa.
Okay, so yeah, you can check out Richie Flow on YouTube.
Richie
You
Flow
type
on
that in.
YouTube. Check it out. There's a bunch of other videos that are older, but there will be newer videos ASAP
Every week, right? Just
Yeah,
like
every
this radio show, right?
every week.
When are we going to do the podcast where we have the freedom?
Soon.
Something I was talking to someone about that today. We're thinking about, and so those people listening right now, we're thinking about doing a thing called Nobody Cares. This is Nobody Knows. Nobody Cares would be on a separate streaming service.
Pirate radio.
And it would be affiliated with the show, not but the representations of things on said show would not be with that of the mindset of DentonRadio.com, but it would be a different kind of more unfiltered show. We've been talking about that, and we've had Pudge Brewer on before. That's the studio we would like to use. I mean. Yeah, Casey, did you say?
Yeah, by the way,
Casey
you were
commented,
wrong.
LOL.
Chicago isn't in Iowa.
I never said Chicago is in Iowa. I think you said that. I'm
Well,
not sure.
we got it
Anyway,
wrong. We got that wrong, and we're sorry.
when are we doing the podcast?
Soon. Let's do it next week.
How would we do it? Will we just get like people on? Will we go in the same order? Like now that what we know with so like when we started this show, I wasn't very good at it. I don't think either of us were. I think we're kind of
I was
just
decent.
barely.
You were.
I think we're barely just getting the idea of it. Yeah, I was just complete trash. So I think like now, like, so would we go and get back from the start? You know, like the first people we had on, I think were Stu and Shane to talk about, I think the North Texas Comedy Festival. Then when we go 1 through 8, we got the Flat Earth guy on. Would we do that unfiltered and unadulterated? You know,
We could also make your pork loin. Here's what we do.
make a pork loin.
We make a pork loin, and in the time that it's
don't
cooking.
don't bring my pork loin in.
No. In the time that it's cooking,
I'm a wonderful pork loin.
we rewatch the episodes and
Okay.
say, "Hey,
Have you haven't had my pork loin, so you got to stop making jokes until you've had the pork loin.
I'm gonna just keep bringing it up until I have some."
Okay. Well,
Chicago is not in Iowa, ladies and gentlemen.
what do you want to do? You want to bring on the guy?
Let's bring him out,
The guy
ladies and gentlemen.
today? So let's say first off, as we had, I said on last week's episode, we had Lawrence Rosales on again this week. This is the second time Lawrence has had to cancel, and it's just because of conflicting schedules. His wife Brittany got in an accident yesterday, and she's okay. Thankfully, Lawrence is a great guy. Brittany, she's amazing too. I'm good friends with both of them. So we will be getting Lawrence on again soon. Very funny comic, competing funniest comic in Texas. One of my good friends and one of the people I look up to in comedy. But last second today, I hit up Richie and I said, "Hey man, we gotta fill a spot," and this is one of the names that we really have been talking about frequently of getting on and booking out so far in advance. Sometimes things
We didn't
slip
know if we
through the
could get 'em.
cracks, and it was good that we got him today.
We didn't know if we could get him.
Right, and so
And
that's
it all
it.
worked out.
So we have a great episode for you guys. Like we said earlier, we have Juicy the Emissary, local. Hip hop producer, rapper. What would you?
Hip hop producer, rapper. He's actually the most requested person we've had that people have requested him to come on.
And
We've had at least 2 people.
As someone outside that community, is one of my favorite, and does a lot of great things within my taste of whatever you believe that modern hip hop or rap music or production, whatever should be. So we're gonna bring him in. Here's where we bring in that music and that logo while we comfortably get that person seated, and
he's also a decent dude. I want to just
tell
throw
him
that
all
out there.
the rules. Yo, we'll be back. Juicy. on the radio.
Hey, we got our guest. He's situated. He's relaxed. He's comfortable.
A little bit.
A little bit.
Juicy the Emissary, everybody. Hand clapping into the microphones by your face.
Hey.
Yeah, act like it's not two people. You know, anytime I listen to that on the podcast, you can clearly just hear it's me and Richie, like, overstressing the mics
sound on
just
the
by
clapping?
Yeah, like, in front of it.
That's my favorite part.
By the way, these are your
That's
keys,
your-
right?
Is this a magic trick?
Let's
No.
hope so.
Yeah,
and
those are
gentlemen,
my
You gotta make
keys.
them disappear.
His keys. No, I was just pointing that out for the people who were saying, what are those?
So what's been up, man? How you doing?
You know I'm chilling.
Your last second call, and you got to come in.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for helping us out
No problem.
on our poorly planned expedition.
For
here.
sure.
That way, what are we on, Jake? Are we on 30? Is this 33?
There's 33.
33? I ask you every week. I always do that in like question mark. I'm like, is this it? It is. So, Juicy Emissary here, music producer. I mean, is it just hip hop, or you do
No,
other
I would
genre?
definitely. Yeah, I
Of
do other
music.
things.
Okay,
For
and
sure.
mostly in post, right?
Oh,
Like-
no, you have no idea. He does he's in a country band. He's in a...
For sure.
Well, so wait, are
He's
you
in
in
a
these bands, or are you
Latino
the
band.
production of the? Are you the producer? Like, is it like a post thing, or are you playing instruments within these bands?
Yes.
Because I know you have your own solo hip hop projects, which
Yeah.
that's that. But I
But-
mean, other things. Are
Nah,
you
I've
hands on in other
done-
than in the studio, or
Well, let's talk
Yeah.
about your Latino band first. Just get
Latino
crazy. What is this?
band.
it's a
What
real
is
thing,
this?
or are you just doing Richie things right
It's
now?
real.
Okay.
What is this? It's
Well, it's Los Patos Poderosos.
Are you
However,
Latino?
I think it's over. We
Oh.
haven't done a gig in like a year.
Are you
But-
Latino?
No.
No, but you were
no.
what, producer for this?
No.
Or what
it
were?
was,
Yeah. What were?
It was a band I started with my friend Chris Hokamp, who since moved away, but we discovered like Peruvian cumbia from the 60s and 70s and just decided. I mean, it was
So
like
you were like in the band though. You're on stage with the band.
Mm-hmm.
I started the band.
So what are what's your go-to? Because I've seen you solely like in your place a couple times, like on a beat pad, sampling.
Yeah,
and
doing
stuff.
live beat
What's-
stuff?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Electric stuff. So what's your like go-to instrument, like live instrument? If you're gonna play on stage with something, what's that?
With like an instrument, you mean?
Yeah.
My first instrument's guitar.
Okay.
That's how I started getting serious about music stuff.
Right.
Um,
Better
but
anything.
in the cumbia group, I played bass, and
you can do drums. You can do all that. Do you sing?
yeah, I
Yes.
sing too. I basically do everything but horns.
What started all
woodwinds.
this? What started your like the musical conquest of Juicy?
I mean, that's all I ever wanted to do.
Right.
I never had any other.
But I mean, I guess what genre, what instrument, what genre? Like, was there a family member involved that like got you into this? Like,
It was like, I don't know, my family's definitely into arts and stuff.
Right.
And I grew up in Denton, so I was around a bunch of musicians.
Did you go to high school out here?
Yeah, I went to Ryan. And so yeah, I mean, I can't think of one particular thing that was like, yeah, that got me into music.
Were you in band in high school?
In high school, I was in choir.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just literally like how I've been like my dad used to like sit down and I would watch like Seinfeld with him, or like I distinctly remember the first time having Chinese food as a little kid because my taste buds weren't adjusted. I hated Chinese food, but I remember Richard Pryor being on the TV and thinking that was so like
I thought you were gonna say you got into slap bass after what
I got a slap bass after. No, but see, that's where your mind goes. So I guess that's why I guess I gotta ask. Like, like my dad was always a comedy nerd. Like I do stand-up comedy now. Was there like a family member or something that like kind of drew you into this? I mean,
well, my dad. I mean, yeah, he my dad's got tons of records and he plays music. My mom is a choreographer, and so she put me in like when I was like 7, I wanted to be like Michael Jackson, and so she put me in like her dance pieces and stuff.
Right.
They made me some MC Hammer sequin pants. I still got them.
really?
They still fit.
Yeah, they still.
Is there a video of you in these?
I was full grown at 7.
That's
Yeah.
so funny, dude.
I wear them as
Oh my
gloves.
I mean, no, because your family's supportive, I assume. I mean, the first time I ever met you
For sure.
was before the Denton Comedy Festival. You were going to produce some beats for it. I was helping
yeah,
RJ
that's right.
Busco with that at the time, and you were your room in there, or was it like a garage converted to a room? Is that right, or it was like a sunroom kind of a
Yeah,
situation?
it was a garage.
It's a
at one-
studio. It
yeah.
wasn't even a room. I don't think there was a bed, right? You had your own.
No,
separate-
there's no
Okay, so it's a recording.
bed in
studio.
there. at the moment.
I mean, dude, he had.
I was there.
It's literally records combing the walls. And speaking of Zachary Light, one of the people commenting right now is one of my good friends who was one of the first people I've seen do a lot of record sampling and stuff.
Word.
Those are, you guys should totally meet. You guys both have that Stone's Throw feel.
Word.
Anyway, but it, like that, like when I first walked in, like you reminded me of him, Zach Light, the dude who just commented, because it was similar. It's just combed in vinyls, you know, records. Like you were just sampling, you know, you had drops and kicks from just all kind of like, in any kind of album. I'm not gonna sit there and guess. You know, I'm not professional like that. But it was tight. Fair. It was tight because it was at your parents' household. Like, so they're supportive.
For sure.
That's amazing, dude. Like to have someone behind you.
I couldn't do it, you know, without my family support, for sure. That's what makes it possible, honestly.
Right. Is there ever been a project that, like, I mean, because you also work in hip hop. Hip hop can sometimes be like I mean, I don't know how your family is. So, like, I never told my parents I got into stand-up comedy. Right?
They discovered it.
Okay.
They discovered it. They did through online.
It's gotta be the worst.
Well, especially when you start, because all people that start stand-up aren't that funny, and they try and tackle topics that are too big for them, and they try and be edgy or whatever. Thank God my parents, they support what I do now because I'm somewhat funny now, right? But, like... It's one of those things, like, I didn't tell them about it. They had to figure out. I mean, it must be – was there ever a project for you that, like, you've never told them about and they had to find out about, like –
Nah. They're super supportive, like, anything I'm doing.
Well,
I never felt like, I can't tell them about this.
Right, it's funny to even talk about because Eric Mancini, I mean, he's a friend of mine, and Rich, he's the – right now anonymous artist. He's a street artist. You know who Eric is, or like seen his stuff before, right?
Yeah, I think I know Eric.
Yeah, and he did the Trumpster thing, the Trump, and he didn't tell his parents, and like they just found out through because he uses his family name.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's one of those things. You just you sit and you chill on it until they.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, if you're not gonna tell them, hopefully they find out about it because that means it's out there.
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, I especially being in rap, I've known so many people who like their parents just have no idea, and I'm like, you're like 24. You haven't told your parents that you make music? Like, I was 12 making music, and my mom was like, "Do you need a peanut butter and jelly sandwich?"
Yeah.
I mean, when I was slightly messing around within hip hop, that was a thing I would have never told my parents because. Also, I mean...
Who are y'all's parents? They must believe in Santa and all that.
I know. Honestly, I feel sorry for you, but I mean...
But that's what... I mean, you know, my parents are just like some...
Yeah, I know why people do it, for sure.
White Flower Mound family.
I mean, you
like,
can
they
imagine...
just hadn't been, like, around that kind of, like, a culture. And
no,
so,
I get
like,
it, for sure.
And then, I mean, I had a lot of friends that would come over that were, like, a part of the community, like, a lot of great producers and, like, art. And they got along great with my family. Richie and my mom got along great. You know,
I think
she might have thought he was the devil when he showed her some card tricks.
But everybody does.
Exactly.
But
they
also,
said
like,
it on the news.
When I was a kid, I was really heavy into, like I'm talking about, like, from, like, 5 to, like, 8, I was super heavy into, like, doctor stuff, you know, like little doctor kits.
Of course.
And so I know when I grew
standard.
I know when I grew out of that.
As one is.
Whenever when I got out of that, my parents were real relieved. You know what I mean? Because I wasn't trying to go to the doctor or.
Yeah.
After that, I spent like 2 or 3 weeks with a briefcase wanting to be a lawyer, but I grew out of that, and I just wanted to be a child forever.
You just wanted to be a child.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, one day I hope Richie puts down his doctor stuff, because.
Right.
But I mean, this has stemmed from that for you. I mean, clearly you have a family that's been involved within music.
Yeah.
You know, this is like one of those, and I mean, I'm sure it's a thing you hear a lot, but I mean, it's a thing kind of what you were raised to do without even. You know, you had the choice. Obviously, you enjoy doing it, but it's also one of those things. It was just, it almost like it was in the blood.
Just always around, you know.
Right.
And it was never like I can't remember ever being like, I want to be a doctor, you know, like Richie.
Well, like I said, that was. I mean, I've obviously changed my opinion now, but I was like, that was between.
Well, no, that's
5
my
and
point.
8.
Is a lot of people will say like, yeah, when I was a kid, I wanted to be this or whatever. But yeah, I just always did music.
And before that, I wanted to be a fireman. So I'm sure my parents were really relieved. Like I took the doctor route for a little while.
People hate firemen.
So, as said, I mean, you know, like we know each other. We've hung out and all that.
You're our best friends. Our best.
We are best friends.
You're
from the one example
brown.
I can bring up if I've been into no, but I mean, like, you know, we've said this is a last second episode, and we're willing to. We're very transparent. somewhat of a radio show. So what's been going on with you, man? Like what, like projects? What have you been doing? What do you want to like talk about that you've been doing? Because I'm interested.
I guess my most prominent project is Attention Kmart Choppers.
Okay.
That came out on Street Corner Music in June.
Mm-hmm. That got some press too from some pretty notable blogs and stuff, right?
Yeah, for sure. Got definitely some nice words said about it.
It's an interesting story. Do you mind telling me?
Okay, yeah. Basically, this dude who worked at Kmart in the late 80s, early 90s started pocketing the in-store tapes. Kmart used to use tapes
kind of like it's like an elevator kind of
exactly
music,
a lot of
like
elevator music, a lot of Muzak. There's especially the later tapes have a lot of like top 40 stuff on it too.
Right.
And as well as like the in-store announcements,
what was like
Attention
the window
Kmart shoppers, like there's a special in the shoe department.
How long did this guy like work there to say this? Like what was the window gap of time that like just to give them a mindset of the music that
I think it was
played?
88 to 92, something like that. And then after he,
that's so cool.
After he like, so anyway, let me say he was pocketing the tapes because they would just throw them away after, they would get a new one.
Did he ever get in trouble for that? I mean, they were just gonna throw them away, so there's no trouble for this, right? There's no.
I guess it was like a clandestine operation, but nah, nobody.
But who's making this music? Like, I mean, sometimes when you sample something, right?
The
if
company
you're gonna
that
sell something,
the company that made the tapes was called Tape-a-thon.
All right.
And they would, they would make tapes that were licensed to whoever, I'm sure. Yeah. And Kmart was a client of theirs.
Okay.
So they were the ones handling all the music licensing and everything.
So you making this whole project, you didn't have to reach out to them once to like.
Nah, it's all good.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, also,
well, see, I know nothing about it. That's why I just wonder.
The guy that uploaded those reached out to you at some point, right?
Yeah, the dude. So yeah, I guess let me finish the story. The dude uploaded them to archive.org, and a lot of rare media enthusiasts took note of it, and so people started talking about it. That's how I heard about it, and then he got some dude from Florida. I think his name was Tom Schwarzkopf, gave him a couple of reel-to-reels that he just happened to procure along with a reel-to-reel that he bought.
Wow.
And so he sent him those, and he added those into the collection.
Sorry, what does that mean for, the listeners that
a reel-to-reel? It's like you've seen, the big tape machines. Like, they got a reel that's, this big on it.
Right.
You got to put that on there with another one.
It's almost like a big cassette, or
exactly,
a big
like
cassette tape. How it,
oversized cassette tape, basically. Okay. So anyway, all this collection of stuff, he put it out on archive.org. And so I thought, it was perfect. It was a perfect opportunity for me for what I do, sampling and stuff like that. And to kind of have a single source of material to sample from.
Right.
And there's a whole, nostalgic consumerism thing tied into it, which is powerful.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, I just thought I'm going to do a whole project with just this.
These are sounds these people have heard in their heads while
For
shopping.
Sure.
And it's things you don't even register. It's that subconscious thing.
It's
that's what's crazy with music, right?
And the fact that
that's why
samples. Kmart shoppers and it's so perfect.
Yeah, it was like I got to sample it.
But that's why the idea of sampling to me is so and again I know people that but I'm very limited in this. I'm just a comedian, but it seems like a very like you said, it's a powerful thing because subconsciously they're taking in this tune, this thing that's already made them feel a way, and you're now twisting it and giving them a new way to feel it. It's almost like that's what's so cool. I almost even about the hip hop or the production community of sorts is because it's one of those things. I messed around a little bit in the hip hop scene. I promoted shows and stuff, and I didn't like how it had felt like there's a lot of adversity with that scene. But there's one thing to be chalked up to the production aspect of it because. And just the musical aspect of making the actual aesthetics or not the the sound, the audio for someone to rap over, as opposed to where it's comedy, where it's if you're even close to someone's joke or something, you know, like people start like really questioning it, as opposed to where music, you know, as a producer, you're able to pick apart these sounds and these little kicks or these little snares from something that you really like off of vinyl to, you know, something you had to go and like dig for in a record store. You know, like what you're doing, it's really to the roots of like of music. You know, it's really like you're in there. You're literally you're going back to the roots of where they started before electric music, like you're doing. I mean,
yeah, for sure. I mean, and
you probably learned music from it, you know.
From doing electronic stuff, you mean?
Yeah. I mean, just picking apart, crate digging or whatever. You
Oh,
know, like
yeah.
you
If
learn
you-
about these artists and stuff that you've never even
Right.
heard of.
Yeah. If you want to like develop a body of knowledge about records, making beats is a super good way to do that. You know,
Those are the guys that I know that know the most about.
And that's kind of why, even before I was, got into hip hop, like I could, I was into records. That's definitely my favorite art form. So then when I discovered what I could do with sampling and making beats, it was like, this is perfect. Like I can add in, searching for music. I could add in, researching music that'll help you find other records. Like,
there's like programs for that now, right? There's like
programs for what?
Are there so there's like programs for that now where it's like you can find something similar to a sample or a sound you've used to like find
there
something
aren't
like
programs.
that?
There's a lot
or
of,
it's just knowing like I found it in this crate. I know this kind of a genre, like the time period of these sounds are being made, kind of.
There's
a thing.
definitely nothing that could substitute just like raw knowledge about stuff. There aren't any like programs or anything, but there are definitely a bunch of I don't know what they call them, but it's basically you can go to a website, and search some keywords, some emotions or something like that, and they have like a body of music that you can license.
So as a producer, is it almost like a thing like how I almost view stand-up? Like I'm obviously a fan of the craft. I mean, obviously there's beat and we'll get to that. I want to know the people or beat makers especially that like influence you, but also is it one of those things too? Like, I mean, what do you listen to more? Do you listen to more of like the records you're sampling, or do you listen to a lot of hip hop? Because like I go through phases where I listen to stand up, because there's certain people I really like and I don't want to sound like them, because when you hear someone you really, really like, it influences you and it makes you like want to make a thing similar because you really like
feel
that
that
person's
way?
craft.
Yeah, dude, I definitely don't feel that way. Like,
Really?
honestly, if there's somebody that I'm like, I want to sound like that, I listen to nothing but that, and then until I can sound like that.
Until you can sound like that sound?
Exactly.
So who are those people to you? Because like here's the thing, like Todd Berry's a comedian I love. I'm more high energy. He's a very subtle, bone dry, low energy comic. This person that I really like. That's not exactly it just doesn't work with the voice that I found within my experience of stand up. So like who is that person to you though?
It changes. It's just whoever you're into, and you kind of like, I mean, you may
Are there
say
reoccurring
that
people
you may not identify with Todd Berry. That's what you said his name was?
Oh no, it's someone that I clearly identify with his comedy, but I don't want.
You don't feel like that's your flavor of comedy,
but not what I should be doing up there because I know me also.
I got you, but you probably do.
I think the mindset's there. I think the voice, the delivery is so different.
There's certain things that you learn to appreciate about different artists, and you can. And the cool thing is you can take those as your own and use them in your way.
Right. I mean, are there like magicians like that, Rich? Like, I mean, do you like as someone like that does street magic? I mean, there's like a couple. Right? There's only a couple of street magicians, though, right? Like, there's
like a handful. But I don't like to pay no attention.
I just felt like you're being left out. So
No. Like I was asleep. I was thinking about David Blaine.
Wearing sunglasses inside.
It's only 6 p.m. No, but yeah, every single aspect of my life is. If you sit around and watch about 20 movies that I've seen and watch about 15 shows I've seen and listen to about 30 albums I've seen, it'll sum up exactly who I am. You know what I mean? And I recently started writing that list down. So if you want to be a better human, think clear, be more motivated, be highly intelligent, watch my playlist of stuff.
What's your playlist
that I'm working on?
What's your playlist?
So much.
Give me
most of it I can't even
give me right now if 3 songs, if on shuffle, that would probably come up on your playlist.
They're all cannabis songs, like the rapper Cannabis.
Really?
Yeah. or
Okay.
Snoop Dogg,
So-
or
Yeah. What are like reoccurring just influences? If you had to just name one or two or producers.
Well,
See, like
I
I've
guess-
heard your stuff, but like you know how music is. It's like I hear a thing, and it's even with comedy. Like someone has heard me before, and they'll be like, "Oh, you sound like this guy," and I'm like, "No."
so like, well, the last year, my favorite record was definitely Kiefer Shackelford, Kicking It Alone,
Okay.
and that record is so dope. He gets the real tapey sound. You can tell he's using like a
See, I've seen
4-track
that
or
name
something.
online before, and I don't think I know who.
And he's just an amazing
Sound
jazz
wise?
pianist who
Okay.
makes beats.
Okay.
So there's just different stuff. Like you'll get into one thing, like so
Have
I
you ever been told you have like like the sound is very Stones Throwy,
sure
very that like Dilla, Madlib-ish kind of.
sure
That's the stuff I like, and so when I heard yours, like that's what it made me think. I'm a big MF Doom guy. Like,
Well, I mean, there's definitely no bigger influence to me than Dilla.
Okay, awesome.
But I mean that should be obvious.
yeah. And that is with a lot of
Yeah.
like I think producers
a lot of
that
people.
enjoy that style, and it's
Definitely.
like it sticks out when someone does it well, like you do. I mean,
Yeah.
you and we won't. I mean, on that, like, is it the Kmart one? Which one is the Paula Deen line? The Eaton collard greens.
Are you talking
with
about
Paula
Frank
Deen.
Poncall?
Is that Frank Punk? Whoever
Yeah.
that is, because he doesn't do interviews.
Frank Poncall is the rap project I do, but yeah,
Okay.
Collard Greens,
Kinda like
in
that-
Impala with Paula Deen.
So it's like the alternative. It's kind of like how Madlib does Quasimodo, almost of a thing.
yeah, kind of.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah,
But to that line, and we won't get into the there's a contract line. We won't get into the political aspect of that line. But that's like a lot of your lyrics you have. I mean, and with most hip hop, it's very punchliney. It's very similar to comedy. You know, you have
Right.
that setup
for sure.
You have that misdirection, then you have that like
Yeah,
that punchline. I mean,
Right.
is
it's definitely comedy. you
right.
know?
It entirely is. It's to a rhythm, and a lot of stand up is too. I mean, if you think back
Yeah.
to like the old like Seinfeld or how Seinfeld was, when they have the do 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 do, and he's like sitting there doing the jokes over, you realize like how similar it
And
really is.
how musical stand up is.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
sure.
It's very the best jokes. You feel like they're going to that rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
You hear that metronome kind of a thing.
Right.
I mean, is stand up like something you ever like? You watch for lyrics, or I mean,
Not for
because
nah,
I don't.
I
Because
mean,
that's the thing. I don't listen, and I'm just now coming to this realization. But it's not
Nah.
like I sit and listen to hip hop lyrics.
it's
to come up with
interesting.
jokes.
I've definitely never watched stand up being like, all right, I'm gonna
Right.
Come up with a
scour
line.
for some material here.
but it's
But
weird.
Let me sample
I'm
this.
sure you could. I'm sure there's rappers who do. For sure.
I mean, I hope not, because now I'm just realizing maybe I could just sit there and throw a little Wayne song. No. But like,
You could.
no, I don't think I want to be the Wayne of comedy. But I mean, money wise, I would love that. Money wise, I would love that.
Wait, what's wrong
my
with being
material
Lil
isn't
Wayne
great
of
either.
comedy?
That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to be the ball barker.
Kevin Hart already did that. No, but it's interesting to sit there and think like that writing process. Like how similar that is.
Yeah, that's definitely like whatever. I mean, yeah, I guess if I hear something,
How long?
But
if
I,
how long does it take you
I'm
to
not
write a
gonna
verse? Because a joke for me takes, like yesterday I wrote a new joke. It's gonna take me weeks of open mics and a couple more writing sessions to really have it like trimmed down and like really tight where there's no extra
Yeah.
words. There's no
well,
fat
see,
to it.
you're doing a little something different because you are like you're getting feedback from a crowd, right? You're trying your jokes out,
Right,
seeing,
but is it that
seeing what
different?
happens, and then adapting it, right?
Is it that different though? If there's that rhythmic aspect, right? Is it really that
the difference is, at least in my
you
process,
can't have fat in yours, because it has to go to the beat. It has to go to a
right, which is why I typically have everything like I know what I want to do. I don't need to like try a line out on the crowd. You know what I
Right,
mean?
which-
I need to do it all, and then
which
here it
helps
is.
that you produce yourself.
Yeah,
Probably you
for
do
sure.
your own studio time,
Right.
as
Yeah.
opposed to like most people like that do, or not most, but there's a lot of like people within a hip hop community that you have to sit there and like, or even if you're doing music in general, like you're in a band, you have to deal with so many other people. That's what I liked about stand up, and you're kind of doing the same thing with your hip hop. It's like it was solely on me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I go to the mics. I write the jokes. I'm up there telling them.
Mm-hmm.
Occasionally maybe I have to have a cameraman come and film. But other than that, it's solely on like what I want to do with the project. I mean, you
Right.
have that freedom
You get
with
to
your
explore for sure.
experience. And
Right.
Richie has that freedom too with his experience. Like when I was messing around with the music hip hop, like I didn't have that, you know.
I like that you say when I was messing around with the music hip hop.
For me though, I know
music
the
hip-hop.
music hip hop. That's my version of saying I was never good at it. And so like, but I had to I like had to rely on other people, and it's, I guess there's something to be said of when you put yourself in a situation, especially within music, where you're solely doing your thing. You maybe have to hit up a graphic designer, you know, for like some
There's
cover
lots of
art
stuff
or whatever.
that is better left to other people, but
You think though? Like, are
for
you?
sure, there's lots of stuff.
You have to
Definitely.
So
learn
what do
how-
you outsource right now in your music? You don't have to drop names
I
or even get
mean-
to like. What do you? I mean, because it seems like you have a, like Richie. It's a jack of all trades.
Well,
for
I mean,
you,
yeah,
right?
I definitely work with artists and graphic designers. Like, I
Which
and
is
I,
nice
I
when you
like to
find
work with
one.
all sorts of artists.
Mhm.
But I'm just saying, like, there are certain. I definitely think there's way too much of a DIY attitude,
Yeah,
with,
yeah, yeah.
especially with local music and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah.
Because, yeah, people are pressuring musicians to do like all of your whatever. There's so many things you need to do. You don't even need to get into it, but like people are saying like, yeah, you got to do this, you got to do that, because the competition is so fierce. And
Right, and
I
I-
just feel like
I
that's
think-
definitely a hallway that
Yeah.
is a
And
trap.
I think sometimes DIY is good when you have creative control, but there's a
Some
lot of
people can
other
just do it.
things.
Some
right.
people can
You
do
need to-
everything.
And I
need
mean,
be able to
creative control, that's
delegate,
fine.
though.
I think there's also a lot of things that, like
Yeah.
the business side of someone as an artist. There's a lot of other
Exactly.
people that you need help with. There's
And
a lot of other people that
it's
can do
like-
good things for
it's
you.
like thinking about,
and not
you know,
compromise
like,
what you want to do, though.
was thinking
artistically,
about
right?
like, compare it to like healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
How good are you going to be at healthcare just DIY?
Right.
There are people out there who have knowledge about things,
Mm-hmm.
and it's, whether it's medicine or music or business
Video.
or whatever.
But at the end of the day, when
Take
it goes
advantage.
down,
Take advantage of knowledge that's out there, because it's what do you call it?
but when it goes
Um,
down, you might need someone else there
Yeah.
with some higher experience to help you with
There's
it.
somebody
Like,
who
there's-
loves to do what you just kind of like to do and know
that
you have to
holistic
do.
healing can help
There
so
are-
much when you're having a heart attack.
mean-
That's kind of
But even holistic healing, like, you can say that they're wrong about whatever, but they do have some knowledge.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely. Well,
you know
that's
what I
what
mean?
I'm
So
saying, though.
That's it's anybody. Like, the world is full of people who have knowledge. Take advantage of them. That's all.
Right. And so that's that's to be said with anyone, pursuing a higher level of whether it's painting, art, comedy, music, so you have a lot of skill sets that you can do for yourself. You have a lot of things that you're able to put out a product you like, but you also have a team. I know Richie has a team of magicians that help him, like, not only make an act, make a show, whatever.
Right.
It's good to build
Yeah,
a team.
I do think there are too many people trying to do it themselves. Like,
Yeah.
they
It's good to
should
have a
they
team.
should get help.
I mean,
you know?
there's people out here that you work with. I mean, to be said. I mean, I know you
For sure.
you work with Pudge, Party McFly a lot. I know you do stuff with Richie,
Yeah.
DJ and stuff.
I mean, I'd say there's people who say, you know what? I recorded this, I wrote it, I mixed it, I mastered it, I made the beat, I did it all myself.
and it's
I'm
not always
like,
that good.
I'm like, yeah, I can tell.
It's not always that good.
Right.
Great. Or someone's like, I don't write, and I'm like, yeah, I can tell. And the thing is, there's little moments when somebody does something that you usually do because you want to do it, but somebody else does it and they put their little spin on it for you, and you're like, oh, I should just keep letting this person do that because
Yeah.
they actually,
It's becoming complacent.
Yeah, I mean, I know people who make beats solely. All they do is make beats, and I could never in a million years make a beat like that because they're so dedicated to that. And another thing is
But they also then become complacent to their sound and their thing, and then it doesn't give anything new for other people to hear. Once you just keep putting out. I mean,
sometimes
unless there's the supply and demand to where people just keep wanting you to churn that out too.
But
You know what
also-
I mean? Like, that's why it's also, I think it's good, kind of what he's bringing up is the aspect of there's so many people, right? You can collab and maybe work with the.
I know he's like the king of bass line. I mean, he's the king of all the pieces to his beats. But the bass lines that Juice has are incomparable. And I would say if I had a song, there's been songs where he'll just, for Pudge, he'll just play some bass or
Yeah.
he'll play some bass on these songs, and it's like we all know that it just took it to the next level where I can sit there and make a bass line, but if Juice is going to make the bass line, it makes the whole song move it's the proof is
And
there. Like you
certain
might as
people
well.
have their thing, that makes.
He
like,
plays
their-
bass. I don't. He plays bass in
Right.
bands like for real songs. I just know how to keep a bass like.
Yeah.
What other
So-
bands do you play bass in?
I played. Actually, at the moment, I don't think I have any bands. I think we all broke up.
Well, let's talk. Let's
I
spin.
got kicked out of all my bands.
It's just a bad.
The
it's a
country
bad
band-
time.
the country
you guys
band
are friends,
was-
or at least, right?
The country band is.
Let's be friends for now.
Yeah, I got kicked out of the Wee Beasties. That's my favorite. Like, that's my claim
That's
to
a
fame.
credit. That's your
For
that's
sure,
your best
dude.
credit.
That's on my resume for
I mean,
sure.
another credit. We were going to talk about this in the sponsorship, and you didn't help remind me.
Oh,
how you had
let's
talked
talk about it now.
Yeah, you were nominated for a damn award, a Denton Nights
Hey.
Arts and Music.
Yeah, I just found out. Like,
According to Richie, I have the plug if you want to win. We can
If you-
sacrifice
if
a
I
goat.
wanna win.
Yeah, we can sacrifice a goat in front of Sarah Button or something, and I think that's how it
Yeah.
works. No, but
I mean, I would say as being in the same category, like that's tight.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Richie Flo's nominated.
I don't
too.
even know what
what?
I've
all right,
done.
so what is it for? Can we tell the
Producer.
listeners? Producer.
Producer.
Hip.
Yeah.
Is it hip hop or just producer?
Producer.
producer.
That's awesome. As a whole, there's
been
a
my
lot of people who
slowest
produce
year.
out here. It's been my slowest.
It's
year.
producer, but everybody
else is on
everybody
it?
who's nominated is
Or we shouldn't plug
basically makes beats. So
Yeah.
it's Richie and me and
Izzy, Lofty, Kind Beats.
yeah.
Which I know that everybody would agree. Like if I happen to win based on people's votes,
You guys should bet right now on it.
No, I'm gonna just give it to Juice, and I'll be like, y'all are insane. Y'all are crazy. And I don't know. I mean, Juice and Izzy are both
I don't
like.
think I know Izzy. I think that's the only one I don't know.
Izzy's
But I'm
super
also
dope.
not tied into
They're
them.
both like people who are my homies.
Yeah.
Who I'm like
Isn't it
lucky
weird?
enough that if you listen to my music, there's probably more influence from them two than like anybody else I know.
Right.
Like,
And I mean, it's not like it matters to a point to actually make it weird, but isn't it a weird thing to like sit there when you're like reading off the names and it's all people you really like their stuff.
Right.
You know, like same with like the
Yeah.
new comedian or not new. I'm such a new. No, there's like it's such that like when I'm sitting there reading best comedian, it's like all these people like.
I mean,
I enjoy.
I know. I wish they picked somebody I don't like.
if they
Right, so you can
if they call my
differentiate.
name, I'm gonna say, look, all of the songs you've ever heard from me are really just me using them two as.
So
my
are you
guides.
plugging for people to vote for Juice right now
Oh,
on the radio
please
show?
vote for Juice. You'd be insane not to.
All right. Well, we're also that was the thing on the sponsorship that we haven't been plugging that you said the best radio show we were
Hey.
nominated.
Nice.
See, that's one that I'll accept because I don't know who else is in it.
But also if it's fun. See, I don't care about any like open mic host, comedian. I want radio show because this has been a very consistent thing lately, and because I just want to accept an award with you because I think
For
that
sure.
would be funny.
And I just think
Richie's
also
so good at accepting awards.
Jake would be so proud of us.
Would you, Jake? Can we say hell yeah on the? I already did. Hell yeah. I mean, dude, yeah. That's all. I mean, so what is that? Was there a producer last year? Was that on there?
No,
I don't remember. Maybe there was, but
who won?
I don't remember.
I don't know.
I don't
There's
know.
a lot of categories.
There's a
Yeah.
lot this year.
categories.
The best activist. I mean, but you produce for a lot of. Can we talk about the? Can we talk about that thing? I mean,
What
can
is
you
that?
read my handwriting? I'm just
Oh,
gonna say
Impractical
it.
Jokers.
Richie told me about that. You already said it out loud, so I don't know. why I
Yeah,
did.
it was a few years ago. I did some music on Impractical Jokers. It's,
Oh, okay. So you're not working for him anymore.
Nah.
So we can talk. Do you think they're funny?
Yeah, I think it's
Is
a
it
pretty funny show. Honestly,
I haven't watched it enough. I've only ever seen it like when I'll go like eat at Loophole, they'll have that TV on silent and without sound. You
Okay,
kinda,
let me
like,
say
can't-
this,
It
and I
just
didn't
looks
want
like a bunch of dudes like
I didn't
Well,
want to say
impersonating
this.
Jackass.
I didn't want to say this
with
in front of you
button-up
because I
shirts.
knew you'd be like, "Oh, Richie just has the worst sense of humor," but I hated the idea of that show because they're all like too old to or I don't know, but I don't know. I watched the show
They just
and
look
I watched
they look like improv actors.
I watched
which-
like 5 to 10 episodes in a row because I was like, this is actually really fun.
Yeah.
Dude, they had this guy that had to read out of a book. They go, hey, you have to read this book in front of this group of people if you lose. And he was like, all right. So he lost the thing. So he goes and reads this book. And when he goes, there's all these people that are going to this book signing for this book that he just wrote.
Mm-hmm.
And when he opens it, he has an hour, but it's blank. And he had to just like make up
yeah,
which is
That's funny.
great if you really
That's
think
funny.
about it. you have an hour that people are waiting for you to make up an entire book.
See, I like that's a very Nathan Fielder kind of bit though. Like I like those, like the social experiments, more than I like the idea, or I guess they're all social, but other than like the Jackass based thing, or it's like you drop the mannequin off the building. And
No, it's not
that's
that.
still funny.
This is
but
like they have one where it's 2 teams and they go to a buffet and they have to grab food off other people's plates, and whoever can have the most food on their plate, they win. And it's like guys, and the guy at first they're all like really sneaky, and at the end they're just like walking up and grabbing stuff off people's plates, and they're like, "What?" And they're just like, "Oh, it's
no,
it's
a good show." There are some episodes that kind of
those
falls
guys
flat.
write? I mean, obviously they have a
make
team of
so many
writers.
shows.
But do those guys write some? Are they comedic? Do you know? Are they
I would say so.
Improvisation.
Like,
dudes?
I would say.
I mean, they're in each other's ears too, so they send you. It's like if we sent you out to do a thing and we're watching it and we're in your ears and we're like, all right, now just dump out all the money on the counter and run.
Right.
Yeah.
And you have to do it. It's a great show.
Jake, let's go in like 7. But yeah, dude. I mean, okay. So like, what was like what are you making for them? Like, what does it sound like?
It sounds like boing.
Okay, so like sound effects.
If you
and
watch
kind of stuff like that,
a lot of the shows on that network, like they want a bunch of True TV. There's a bunch of stuff like that, you know. But yeah, it's just like.
I mean, clearly undisclosed, but I bet they
honestly,
pay nicely, right?
It's
really. It's True TV,
dude. I mean it's a rat race that whole game, but.
Do they pick up other like producers frequently, or is it a thing like you hold like a
it's basically it's basically you're basically just working for a publishing company, right? You know what I mean? Okay. But I don't know. I forget what I was gonna say.
Sorry, I interrupted.
It's all good.
I'm bad at this. We're figuring it out. I ate a. Do we want to pull that up? Do we want to pull up the Mark thing? No.
What thing?
The Deep Wax thing. That was the only other thing we had written down to fill out.
Influences?
The Hellburger.
Oh, you ate the Hellburger.
We already got to influences.
And why don't you tell us about that a little bit about the Hellburger? I mean, I've had one before.
That's why I told Jake 7 minutes because I have to go to a bathroom. But Hellburger is I don't even know what is. Have you had it?
Nah,
you were there. We were with you, Hocamp, Pudge, and me and Scott, and Hocamp was eating them, and y'all were like finishing eating, and then Scott was like, "Hey, you want to eat one of these?" And we ate one, and it was the worst. And
I didn't eat one. No.
Did you eat one?
I ate one, and luckily I had
recall your experience on this.
I am furious just thinking about it.
Dude.
Lucky for me, I had 2 chicken sandwiches in the car from McDonald's. So as soon as I was like, I ran to the car and ate those slowly. I remember buttermilk.
Yeah.
So this started as Lauren posting a thing online yesterday because she likes to troll. And she posted something about having me eat a Hellburger because we went to Roosters a couple days ago and had talked about it. And me being me, I was like, yeah, I would eventually do it. And then it got to a thing where Mark, Deep Wax sponsor, thank you very much, sat there and he said he would post it live and compensate for slight. So what happens here is this is a hot it is a slider burger with a stack load of jalapenos, not pickled either, like fresh hot jalapenos. It has ghost pepper, habanero, and chipotle, and they add a lot of chipotle to make it taste like smoked and burnt, so it doesn't have a good taste. Like there's absolutely zero good taste when biting into it. And I had some insider info. I talked to some people, Brad McKenzie also, who ate it with me, and he's done it before. And so we decided to put Texas Pete's hot sauce on it to add to the hot, but to also the flavor. And it did make it taste better. But so podcast listeners, there is video right now. We're turning off the sound because of the obscenities I tried to breathe out. And mind you, I couldn't really talk when I bit into this. This thing was this was terrible. So
does it just come with one?
Are we playing it right now for the people, Jake?
Video?
Is that what's going on? Okay, we got the video. Can we? Yeah. Juice, if you look over there, you can kind of see it. Here, we'll scoot a little bit.
Were y'all holding the camera vertical?
So it's tiny. It's not that. Yeah, Mark was filming on his phone. It's not.
Is that a Hawaiian bun?
Yeah, it's a
Nice.
Hawaiian roll.
Nice.
I believe it's a Hawaiian roll. So Brad's done this before, mind you. And so right now, this is him, I guess,
Great
explaining to me. So Brad started out, he had a White Russian, which we all know dairy and milk helps spicy. All I had was like a half glass of water.
I love the presentation. It's just like on a big old white sheet.
Dude, and they stack it with jalapenos. And really, but the sauce is so hot, there's not a lot of it, dude.
They don't need any. They don't need that much. It's like snake venom.
Right, and it's tiny. So, my mindset was literally like, I'm just going to eat it as quick as possible.
Yeah.
And I think
Might be the best move, but
I think we're getting to eating it soon, right, Jake?
are you guys saying grace?
We
Did y'all end up eating it or just looking?
Look at me prolonging. I do not want to bite it, dude. And my thing is like spice. I'm okay with. It's the digestive process. And I'm actually doing better than I thought I would right now. Oh, and okay, here we are. We're picking it up.
Look at one bite. I think you have 2 or 3 bites.
I only took it in 3 bites, and I tried to do it in 2. I just want to get down as quickly. And I'm so dumb. I licked it off my lips, the sauce. Like I'm like,
Yeah, you should have left.
look, you can see after that first bite though, the way my eyebrows lift. That's not okay. And
I hope you
killed
rub
that
your
thing.
eyes.
I killed that thing. But look at Brad's like first initial reaction, and I think it's within the allotted time soon, Jake. So you can tell it's hot for me, but watch. He goes back to Brad soon.
Who's
Brad McKenzie? We've gotten him on before. 2 brave boys for the podcast listeners. And right there, I look like I might vomit. But right there, Brad is already crying. Look, you can see him. He's like looking up to the heavens to hold the tears back. And so I handled it well at first. Jake, which one's the one with the like 6:30 if we want to go to that? So I drank my whole water.
Mm-hmm.
And then it got to the point of I was trying to grab for other people's what looks. So they serve it all in those red cups, right? So I grabbed Lauren's, thinking hers was water. Knowing Lauren, she doesn't drink water. It was Sprite right here. I drink Sprite and it kills me. Watch my reaction. It's all that citrus, dude. That destroyed my life. That destroyed me. So, Rooster's Roadhouse in Denton, they have a thing called the Hellburger. It's $3. It is a slider, and it is terrible. Terrible. And I can still, it's one of those things, it's the few things I've, it's one of the few things I've eaten, and I can feel it, where it is in my stomach right now.
That's terrible.
That's my
just
favorite
sitting
part
there.
with spicy food, actually.
Really?
I call it the orb.
The orb?
Yeah,
Where
you
you
eat
can-
so much spicy food, you can
Your
feel
chakra?
You can feel this nuclear reactor in your stomach.
Oh, man. So, wait, you like spicy, and you've never done
Yeah.
this? This is bad, dude.
That's just crazy.
They make you sign a waiver.
Yeah.
And the word death is on the waiver.
Yeah, dude.
And I signed that and I was like, yeah, I don't think
I've seen
that's
someone die eating that. I don't want to talk about it.
Well, it got to the point, dude. I couldn't talk. I was asking them. I was like, "Get away, waitress," because my water was empty, and I had to get her over and order a White Russian, which dairy is the best thing. And then it was one of those spice. You know how your body reacts to spicy, where if you eat a lot of ice, then your body is cold, you're shaking because your body feels cold, but your mouth is still hot.
Man, I've never had that. I got to try that.
Oh, that
Sounds nice.
It's terrible. It's very conflicting. Let's cue that music, Jake. Let's get those plugs going. Juice plugs going on. Juicy the Emissary. Anything coming up?
Yeah, y'all check out. I'm doing happy hour at Dan's every Tuesday, 5:30 to 7:30. I'm DJing there.
Okay, say that again.
5:30 to
every-
7:30 every Tuesday at Dan's Silverleaf.
Awesome. Anything else?
Projects.
Music.
Check out juicytheemissary.com.
All right.
I'm gonna be out in LA doing some shows in a couple weeks, so y'all keep up with me.
Dude, nice. When will that be?
Early February, first week of February.
Awesome. Check it out. All of our LA listeners. Hopefully one day. Richard, plug.
Come to the Dimensions Kuzu fundraiser at Andy's on Saturday. I'll be performing magic at Pascal's, Andy's, and the Basement. Come and get your face painted.
Yeah, boy. Plugs for me. Obviously, every Thursday and Sunday, I have 2 open mics. Thursday, Killers Tacos. Sunday at the Bearded Monk. Both of those signups are at 6:30. 7:30 start for Killers. 7 o'clock start for Bearded Monk. But also tomorrow, I know it's a Thursday, but I will be the first act at Wine Squared. LOL for a Cause, the umbrella for North Texas Comedy Festival, the charity. Gives back to children who don't have enough money for books or proper education. They're hosting a show, Wine Squared. I'll be opening, then I'll be at Killers. And also, what's else coming? February 2nd, I'll be at Jokes and Mirrors with Richie. That's over
February
in Dallas
2nd.
area.
Deep
But
Elm
yeah,
Arts Company.
I think that's it, right? Deep Wax Productions. Don't forget about them. Check them out on Facebook, online, at Deep Wax on Instagram. Promoting all types of shows, art shows, music shows, comedy shows for the community, benefiting the community. This is Denton Radio. Nobody knows. Every 5:30. You have been listening to that.
Every Wednesday
and
at
you
5:30.
will now not be listening to that. We
Later,
love you.
Titters.
Goodbye.
Well, thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. We want to remind you, don't miss your chance to get your tickets to the Denton Black Film Festival happening this weekend. Also, make sure you check out our friends Classic of Denton at classicofdenton.com.